Welcome to For Collectors.
Good evening, For Collectors. For Collectors, my name is Sammy Thunder, and welcome back to the channel, For Collectors. So tonight, I've generally always tried to kind of steer my monthly videos, contributions to be a little bit more free form and just kind of loose and relaxed, and kind of focusing more on just kind of hanging out, showing cards, and that's more or less what we're going to do tonight. I wanted to bring an awesome panel on to do just that, to provide you some variety of different styles of collecting, different collecting preferences, methods, and kind of maybe we'll get into that a little bit, but mostly it's more about the cards than anything else. Speaking of cards and speaking of vintage, because that's kind of what we're steering towards, you guys who are watching might end up hearing about this beforehand through various mediums of social media and so forth. But big announcement to make, and I've gotten the okay from those associated with this promoting of it. But For Collectors, with partnership with Bleecker Trading, as well as sponsorship from Leighton of Just Collect and Scott from the Collector Connection, have come together, and we are hosting a vintage trade night at Bleecker Trading at their West Village location on Sunday, February 15th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. And there's going to be more details coming along with this. I believe there's going to be pizza served as well. So there's going to be tables. So it's an opportunity for vintage collectors to get together in the New York area, as well as the tri-state area with New Jersey, Pennsylvania, perhaps, and Connecticut, and so forth. It's going to be the first time, I believe, that Bleecker Trading is running this, trying this out. And so I proposed this to them back in this, I'd say in the late summer, and we got the ball rolling into the new year. So I'm very pleased to announce that again, that For Collectors, in partnership with Bleecker Trading and sponsorship with Just Collect and the Collector Connection, we'll be hosting a vintage trade night at their Bleecker Trading location in the West Village on 96 Christopher Street. Again, on Sunday, February 15th, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's free to get in, obviously. So if you have stuff you want to trade, there's going to be opportunities probably to buy and sell, and more will be announced. Like, more information will be coming through as the date gets closer. So they just keep in mind, and I hope to see you guys at that event. But without further ado, I think we should just kind of jump right into why we're doing this tonight. I'm going to bring in my panel with me tonight. So first is Neil from Cardboard Coach Neil. I got Tyler from 5 Cent Wax is with us tonight. And finally, Dan from Steel City DW. I'm glad that you guys worked around my mess up yesterday. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this tonight as well. So thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Sammy.
Appreciate you, man.
No, of course. I'm always. It's kind of cool because I think you guys are completely different in terms of what you collect, which I think is awesome. So I think we're going to see quite a variety in what you guys are going to show. It'd be interesting to see if there's overlap. I'd be amazed if you guys picked out a card that at least two of you have. So you never know. But if you guys want to kind of give a little bit of a backstory on your channels and what you like to collect and so forth. So Neil, if you want to start off.
So Neil, Cardboard Coach Neil is my channel. Been watching YouTube for a couple years, and I think I always wanted to start a channel, and I didn't do so until I think May of last year, early May, late April maybe. It's been a blast. I figure I'm watching, I might as well add my 2 cents in and show some cards, and it's been a lot of fun. Met a lot of great people along the way.
And also, I will throw in that Neil has done a great job in kind of representing the Philly show meetups. He's done it twice with Ray from Philly, and the most recent event we had, what, you had over like 50 plus people there, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. I imagine you and Ray are going to be working on the next ones.
Yeah, yeah. We have a pretty good relationship with the sales manager at the hotel,
Nice.
who's a collector himself. So hopefully he's there as well. We've had it now twice. I think the first time we had 10 or 11 people, and then just this past December, it jumped up to, like Sammy pointed out, like I think 51, just over 50. And it was fun. It was sponsored by, we had some pizza with CIA, and that was very generous of them to do that. So hopefully we can find another sponsor. I think food brings people in.
For sure. Yeah.
It's always an added bonus. So we're working on that. The Philly show's coming up in about a month before a month before Strongsville, Independence, whatever.
Yeah.
And we're hoping we get the same success. So
cool.
We're going to soon find out.
All right. Tyler, what about you, man?
Yeah, man. So I'm returned to the collecting hobby in general about a year ago. I think it was March of 2025, and kind of a long story how I got back into it, but quickly realized things had changed a lot since I was a kid after about a 30-year break of being away and then coming back into the hobby. And somewhere along the line, my wife got tired of me talking to her about cards, and I realized that I didn't really have a community around me. So found YouTube and your channel and a lot of other good content creators that are out there, and kind of got hooked and got the bug, and reached out to a couple of guys, and they kind of encouraged me to start my channel. So my channel's 5 Cent Wax, of course, and I think I put my first video out in August or September of last year, so not been doing it very long, but have just been having a blast meeting people and making connections and picking up cards. But it's been kind of mind-blowing how many people I've been able to meet just through jumping on YouTube and starting to reach out and make some new friends.
And you're planning on going to you're based in where? There, I see the Tennessee, so I figured something in that area.
Yeah, I'm repping the Big Orange here behind me, but I live about 20 minutes west of Knoxville, Tennessee.
And you're planning on going as well to the I guess we can call it an Independence now.
I am. I can't wait. That was actually one of the goals that I had once I started looking at previous years, the old Strongsville shows and the Best Western and the hockey rink, and that was definitely a show I knew I wanted to go to. And so this is going to be my first go around. So I'm excited for Independence. I'm a little bit bummed I'm not going to get the Strongsville experience, but we're going to have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, there's parts of it that I'm not going to miss. So,
I've heard, yeah.
Like the random hairs in the bed, and apparently there were bed bugs in Petty's bed or something like that. So.
Yeah, I hear a lot of elevator and bartender stories from other guys as well.
Yeah. Dan, and speaking of which, because I know you were at Strongsville last year, so you know exactly what we're talking about. But if you want to share a little bit about your channel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I got to give a shout out to Neil and Ray for what they did, setting up everything for the Philly show. That was my first Philly show, and I felt like it was a pretty awesome welcome party, just getting together with everybody and meeting some new friends as well. So that was cool. So thank you for that. Yeah, I'm Dan, Steel City DW. I got back into the hobby, I think it was a weird time. It was like mid 2019, so a little bit before the boom, but so I got to see that big transition with cards and things like that. I started out really just trying to collect as much Roberto Clemente as I can, and obviously connected with Theo pretty well on his collection, mutual interests. And then just really started kind of drawing that out into a lot of the old Pirates Hall of Famers, even going back to a lot of the pre-war. And most recently I've been focusing on trying, it's hard, but to collect some playing era Honus Wagner cards, just increase that collection. tapered down the collection and focus on some of my heroes, learning the stories and things like that. So it's been fun.
And speaking of kind of like bringing down, like tapering the collection down, I know recently in the CIA auction you had a number of cards. I don't know, how many did you have in that?
So between the lots and the singles, I think it wound up being somewhere close to about 50 cards out of the latest CIA auction. And I can tell you guys, like, that was a really good experience for me, from start to finish. So if anybody's thinking about it, actually, believe it or not, who recommended it to me was THA Cardboard Matt. So the Card Story Matt, he said he had a really good experience with it, and I thought it worked out great. So
Did you find anything, like any card in particular, that outperformed that maybe you weren't expecting to perform as well?
yeah, I had a 1960 Topps Yogi Berra in like a PSA 8, and there's only a handful of those in a PSA 9, but so I think that really outperformed, and was pretty impressed with just in general seeing how those sales were doing. That auction is starting to get pretty competitive in some of the cards that are on there and stuff like that. I thought I was in it for a bunch of them, and they climbed up pretty good. So you can tell the hobby is very healthy right now.
That was fun to watch. And yeah, it's becoming the I would say the communal auction house. I mean, nothing against REA or any of the other big auction houses, but I don't know. There's a different feel to what CIA is doing compared to some of these other ones. It's just, I mean, the format is the same, but I guess it's just the rallying behind the auction house, because what's being put up there tends to come from like people that are making content here, but also obviously outside sources like Instagram collectors as well, Facebook, and then private collectors who don't make content, who may watch content, but yeah, it's definitely kind of a rallying involved on pretty cool. So speaking, let's show some cards. Let's kick this off. So I guess we'll kind of go like snake format. Dan, if you want to start, and then we'll kind of go backwards. I gotta get the screen going here. Let me see how this is gonna work. Okay, that's not gonna do it. 1 second. That's not gonna do it either. There we go. Perfect. There we go. You're
sick. So I don't know if I'm kind of cheating. This is more of a postcard than a card, but I thought it had a really cool story behind it. So I recently read, or I'm like 3/4 of the way done with it. I need to finish that book, but I'm reading a book about Josh Gibson called The Power in the Darkness. It's a really awesome book. I think it's probably about 15 years old at this point, but one of the things that I learned in that book was that there was a player/manager who recruited Josh Gibson when he got recruited to the Pittsburgh Crawfords. He was like, Josh Gibson was playing in like an industrial league at the time, right, in Pittsburgh. And he got recruited to the Pittsburgh Crawfords by Harold Hooks Tinker. And so I was able to get this awesome postcard with an autograph from Hooks Tinker. And I think like it's pretty significant for me because, one, I love this photograph. And then the other thing is he's kind of the beginning of the Josh Gibson legacy and legend that I'm really focusing on learning about. And obviously that's a huge part of Pittsburgh history. I recently had the chance to go visit Josh Gibson's grave, which was pretty cool. And so I'm just kind of collecting with elements that maybe surround Josh. And it starts with that one.
That's a really cool connection.
Yeah, awesome.
Tyler,
I
what about
love
you?
postcards, so that was cool.
Well, like a lot of collectors that are getting back into the hobby or finding vintage and really getting into it. So I'm pretty much in the golden age. The post-war stuff is kind of where I hang right now. And I think a lot of it's because growing up, I heard my dad and uncles and my grandpa talk about, maize and mantle and all these guys. And so, that's kind of where my interest drifted initially. And so, early on getting back into it, I guess for you, Sammy, I'll show a maze first, but, trying to pick up, nice examples of cards that I remember players from when I was kids. And, sometimes that's got to be in a kind of a lower to mid grade, or it could be something like, a Yaz rookie, which I'm also really into, post-war rookies and all that kind of thing. And then, as a kid, I never thought about owning a mantle, but I had to pick up my first mantle. Of course, it's a 2.5, but I kind of tend to look for bigger cards that have good appeal, eye appeal, if I can cut the glare off there. So that's kind of squarely where I live. And then somewhere I worked my way back into the 50s, 56, 55, and 54, kind of the sweet spot, I think, as far as beautiful cards go. And started picking up those runs, and I'm working on that now. I've been able to pick up the Ted.
Sweet.
The Snyder, Rizzuto, a lot of those cards. So working on that run. I got the Rizzuto over Christmas. So that's kind of where I tend to live, is in that golden age, and I'm loving it right now. But I'm sure jonesing to kind of work my way back into pre-war. So I don't know when that'll happen, but I don't think it's in the too distant future.
You could find yourself in a world of pain by doing that.
Well, it's almost a little bit of a rabbit hole I'm scared to go down, I think.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I blame the glory of their times, because I read it, and that was really when
that will do it. The story, the stories will be like, oh man, I got to get a card of that player now.
Yeah, and so that, and then of course, I watch the guys that are really into pre-war, and just see, there's such beautiful cards, and there's so much history behind all of it, working back into that era, and it's just really cool to me. So I don't know, at some point I'll probably snap the chalk line on my post-war stuff, and move back hopefully into the pre-war.
Just steer clear of Aaron Value vintage cards. That guy's trouble, man.
Yeah, I've already made the mistake of finding him on YouTube and subbing, so he's already got me hooked.
Yeah, he has everything, it seems like.
Yeah. He does, it seems, yes. And I've got to know, I've got to give a nod to Tony Liebrick, the Southern Collector. He was actually one of the guys that kind of encouraged me to start a channel, and of course, he's got a pretty fair pre-war collection of his own, to put it mildly. So,
Well,
I think that's just a attempt to get the Tennessee Mafia roll in all the Vols fans. I'm pretty sure Tony's a pretty big Vols fan, correct?
Well, he is. That was just a happenstance. We found each other, I guess. But yeah, we're forming a club, and the Big Orange is being well represented in the vintage card community.
does Tennessee border Missouri?
Well, so Tennessee borders about 8 states. You've got some shady characters when you get out into that Missouri and Kansas area, like Chris from Missouri and others. So
That's why I was asking.
yeah, we don't like to act like we're bordering up on
It
Chris.
does. I'm looking at a map. I mean, Tennessee, it does. It does border it a little bit. So I can see some territory wars starting with the Tennessee crew, and then you got the Missouri crew with Mike J. Hawker and them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, how far are you from Nashville? Because they're starting to have some shows, aren't they?
They are. I'm about an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, depending on what part of Nashville you're going to. So it's not a far track for me. They do have several shows throughout the year at the fairgrounds there. It's the National, NASH, not to be confused with the National. There's actually the first one, I think, coming up in February, and then there'll be 2 or 3 more as the year goes on. But they're pretty good shows. There's a lot of vintage there usually, and you can stumble onto some good finds there.
Good.
Cool. All right, let me bring Neil on. Go ahead, Neil. What do you got?
So nice segue. I'm a golden age guy myself. I do like pre-war as well. But Golden Age, and interesting because the 64 mantle, that was my first mantle as well, a long
wow.
time ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's in a tux, they look fantastic. And the 55 Ted Williams, that was my first Ted Williams. So go figure.
Man.
Great minds think alike. And
Absolutely.
yeah, with Dan showing a postcard, that's what I've been really getting into the past couple of years, and starting to learn more about some of these issues. And this is a pretty cool one. This is a 1948 Cleveland team issue postcard. This is not used. Bob Feller, by the way. Bob Feller's
Very
got a lot
nice.
of cards. And the Indians, like the Pirates of the 60s, have a lot of stuff I'm finding out. Stuff I never really cared about or knew about. But as I got to, know them and hunt for things, this one is used. This is a 1952 Pirates.
Mhm.
It's Ralph Kiner. This was actually autographed by him. So a lot of what I've been finding is that a lot of times teams and or players, and sometimes both, would commission a lot of postcard companies to produce postcards for them to accommodate the autograph requests. So this one was sent. She asked for a ball. He couldn't send it. I doubt Mr. Kiner typed this up, but it's typed up from probably the Pirates secretary, and he signed the front. So
Mm.
Yeah.
Neil, I got to see that Kiner again.
yeah, let me see if I can get it a little bit closer. Real nice signature across. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, that's a great image too.
And then on the back, I don't know if you can read it, but so yeah, it's postmark from Pittsburgh in 1952. So it's just cool that someone actually kept this, and who knows how many people have owned it before me, or who's going to own it, years from now. So because these cards, we don't own them, we just hold them for a while, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morbid thought, but truth. Absolute truth to it. All right. I wasn't sure if I was going to include myself in this, but I guess I
you have to.
Good. Okay. So I picked out some stuff in the event that I was going to do this. So I did. I'll start with the more recent pickups. So the most recent one is like the White Plains Winter Extravaganza show that they had this past weekend. I decided to keep this for myself. It's the 74 Laughlin All-Stars,
Nice.
Tom Seaver. And I remember Mookie. I think Mookie told me about these. I think there's some smaller cards as well that are. I can't remember what year they're from. It might have been referring to this one, perhaps. There was a Super Seaver collector. Well, there's a guy who set up at a table, and I think he was consigning a bunch of Seaver stuff for somebody, and this was in there. And I think I bought up like half, not half, like I'm exaggerating, but I bought a lot of the Seaver stuff that he had in there, and this was in there. And the price was really good. Like I think he was asking like $40 for this, and I was like, that's. I don't think you come across these too often. So I was like, and it's now or never. So I figured now. And then the other piece that I got from that same dealer is I got my Milk Duds Seaver, and it's in it too. But
Full box.
What's that?
Full box. That's
Yeah.
good.
And he had this for like $50. And I'm like, again, one of those things like, when am I going to, I can probably find one online, but they're usually like in 5s or 6s, and they're asking like $500 for these.
Yeah.
But for like $50, I'm not going to, like, that's a no brainer for me.
Mhm.
I don't need to spend, like, I don't need to, I don't need a high grade for this. I just want to have a box that looks good, that presents well. And I think this presents pretty well. So, that all came from for two unique pieces for under $100 that are Seaver. I mean, I'm not gonna say no to that.
That's nice, Sammy. I noticed, I think the Seaver rookie over your shoulder. I mean, feel free to send that my way if you ever get tired of it. I mean,
Well, it's funny because that card, I had one originally. It's weird. I've had 3 Seaver rookies over the course of the time I've been back. The first one I got was a PSA 3 Oh god, this one I think this is the Atlantic City show. I bought it there, the national that they had there. I got the Seaver rookie then, and then I traded up to get a nicer looking 4.5 in SGC. It just looked better, like it just presented
Yeah.
super well. And then I sold it in a bundle to a buddy of mine who sets up the Fishkill shows, Mike. I sold him a bunch of cards to have money to go to the national, and that ultimately led to the E98 that Matthew sent over there.
Yeah.
But that was like one of the few cards where I went like afterwards. I'm thinking, oh, probably should try to find another one. And I knew I'd find another one eventually because there's so many of them out there, despite it being a high number. But I'll show that one while I'm here. So it's in a 2 this time, but every presentation is everything. I mean, for me, it's the centering is what kind of captures it.
Yeah.
And if I didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't notice that there is a crease in this, and it goes across. Yeah. You just wouldn't see it unless I showed it to you. So, I mean, we all know this, though. You guys know this too. I mean, it's just, you always want to try to find I mean, unless you're trying to do a registry, which is understandable, but if you're just trying to find a card that presents well, and you want to try to find a low grade that presents super well, that has the centering of a 7 or an 8.
So. Absolutely. Yeah. And then when you threw it up, I would have never guessed it was a 2 if you'd have had the grade covered up. I mean, that looks really nice.
Yeah, thank you. Cool, man. That's me. So Neil, we're gonna do snake format. So Neil, go ahead, man.
All right, what to pick out? Well, I just pulled out a stack of stuff. So I'll stick with this is actually kind of new. This is a Dexter Press. This is 1968. They call them postcards, but when you look on the back, it's just there's a write-up on the players. But you really can't use this as a postcard. It's a postcard size, but this is these things. This one was actually kind of tough to find. So this is a 1968, but I like a lot of Dexter Press stuff. More people are familiar with the 67s. This is Clemente and issued by Coca-Cola. I think this is the All-Star version because there's a second paragraph here. But if anyone out there has a 67 Dick Allen, I've been looking for one for years. They're not expensive at all, but they're just, I think because they're big and they're oversized, people kind of either lost them or just didn't collect them or threw them out or what. But
the person who talked to you about finding one of the Richie Allen and I don't know, this person just comes to mind, first person I think of. At the Philly show, there's a dealer named, it's like Dan Uther. Yeah, it's where, so he had a lot of Dexter Press stuff in his like bargain bin boxes.
Yeah, they're not expensive, but
no,
not have a Dick Allen. He's Jim Bunnings, but did not have a Dick Allen.
He's the kind of and that's like the one place where you would expect to find it.
Yeah,
that's the funny thing,
and that's I think the great thing about shows. Like I love Sammy. I mean, watching your display cases. But it's the shows where they have where someone's bringing like their whole basement. Those are the dealers I like to look through because you never know what you're going to find.
That's what there was a guy up in the Shriner show in Boston. There's a guy who he sets up in the back row, and he like has 3 tables worth of just, it looks like a flea market setup, and he just has like rummaging of all Boston stuff. It has that feel. Like I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah,
it has that vibe. All right, Dan, what do you got for us next?
All right, I think you guys saw this because I showed it on the text chat, and pardon my glare, but
that's good, man.
Wow.
So I just love this image.
Yeah.
2 Pirates Hall of Famers, one of the most underrated shortstops.
That's true. With
one of the most well-known shortstops. And, obviously this is a coaching career time frame for Honus, but this is I guess there's 2 different versions of this set, the leather finish and then the glossy finish ones. I just think it's a cool image. And So yeah, I just recently picked this one up, and I think I'm going to start collecting these 36 R311s. I think it's a pretty awesome set, and yeah, so that's where a lot of my collecting has gone recently. Is I've gained a real appreciation for Arky Vaughan, and trying to find playing era cards of his are becoming increasingly challenging, because I think I'm not the only one who's seen him come into the forefront. But I also have the 34 Gaudy, not the most special copy, but do love it.
But it's yours. It's your copy.
It's mine. Yep. And while I'm on that note, I've been trying to get all the 33 Gaudis for my Pirates Hall of Famers. Picked this one up in Philly at the Philly show. Okay. Yep. And picked this one up recently. Lloyd Wayner, Pirates Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Nice.
Little Poison. And then Big Poison, 33 Gaudy, Paul Wayner.
Nice.
So yeah, while a lot of people I think probably got into Gaudy a lot, before I did, I've just kind of gained a recent appreciation for it, and I know sometimes it's a really tough set to collect, but at least pick up my favorite Hall of Famers. So
It's cool you made quite a dent in being able to kind of get a nice variety. And going back to the Arky Vaughan and the Honus Wagner, I mean, that's, I know you showed it to us in the text, but it's a very striking photo. Kind of, you hear all these stories about Honus Wagner and how much players respected him, both as teammates and him as a manager as well. And you could just tell from that photo, like there was just a lot of good camaraderie and respect.
the one thing about Honus is like you see a lot of his post career, like well into his, like when he was a manager and then even just as a mentor. You see a lot of photographs out there of him just, with working with kids, working with players, things like that. And it's just a really cool thing to see from, somebody who I never got to see him play in person and things like that, but get to see the legacy of how that impacted the game. And there's a really awesome article that talks about how his significance to the game. He changed what the shortstop position really was in baseball. Prior to him, a shortstop in baseball was almost exclusively a fielding position. And the fact that he had so much success behind the plate or at the plate was, it was really changed a lot about that position. And, obviously it's one of the best hitting positions out there right now. So,
Mm-hmm. Cool, man. Let's bring you back. Tyler, what do you got for us next, man?
One of the things, just kind of seeing the variety you guys are showing, that I was surprised, I guess, about kind of post-war, the Golden Age collecting, is just the variety that you can find there, maybe even in regard to, food issues and things like that. So I had to pick up, this actually came from my uncle who had it when he was a kid, but starting to pick up some of the cons. That's the Leo Cardenas. But then also kind of transitioning and figuring out, the post and Jello cards. Love those, the Yastrzemski, and then found this one. I've showed it on a video before. So this Yaz, it actually says it's a 63 post, but it's not. It's actually a Jello. If you look at the sizing of it and the stat line isn't quite right there, so the flip is wrong. But really like stuff like that, and then I kind of center around Hall of Famers and trying to pick up, what I can of base cards as far as Hall of Famers go. And besides from the 55, the 64 is one of my favorite sets. And so I'm always looking for nice 64s. And of course, I've got these raw, but, just looking for clean copies. Yeah. Love that Brooks. And then, of course, you got to have Frank, the other Robinson, or maybe the Robinson.
That is awesome.
So, love cards like that, and I'm always looking. I don't shy away if I find a nice raw card. they're typically at a fairly good price from what I've been buying. I've also run into nice raw cards that are at, a 5 or 6 grade price, even though it's raw. So there's some things I'm learning as I work my way back into the hobby, as far as kind of the business side of it, and how comps and pricing work. But that's what I'm having a lot of fun with. I've actually got a pretty good stash of cards I need to get submitted for grade that I want to have graded, that I've just held off on having graded, is kind of some of the stuff in the hobby in that regard works out. But definitely got a stash that's piling up pretty quickly.
Cool, man. I've always wondered, and this is kind of like an open question for everybody, because I'm not 100% sure. I can do a quick Google search right now and look it up, but I figured I'd ask. When Frank Robinson retired, did he retire as an Oriole or retire as a Red?
I think it was.
I think it was
his last team.
Was it?
Or his last team, or I think it was an Angel.
Yeah, I started to say the Reds traded him to Baltimore, but I don't know what happened after that.
Sammy, you're talking like one of those like 1-day contract type things?
Oh.
Yeah, I was wondering if because you know how
like who's his allegiance to, really?
Yeah, but maybe that changed in like the later year, like more recently. Maybe I'm looking and thinking of it that way, but like how like Mike Piazza, I think, retired as like a Met.
Yeah.
But people could question like, oh, why didn't he retire as a Dodger? But I guess they weren't really thinking like that back then, because it did just a general search. It says he retired as a player with the Cleveland Indians in '76, but is deeply associated with both the Reds and the Orioles.
Yeah.
So I guess it's one of those things where it's like, if he's no longer with us, but if you were to ask him like, oh, if you had to make a choice, like which team would you like, if your statue at Cooperstown, should it be of you in in an Orioles hat or a Reds hat?
Mm-hmm.
So now I got to look to see what his plaque says.
Yeah. Like what does what does the plaque show? Just something random thoughts that just come up, but the cool card.
I know there was some outrage at Dave Parker when. Posthumously, obviously, but his plaque was in a Pirates hat.
So Frank is pictured in an Orioles hat.
Okay, there you have it.
There you have it.
That settles that. All right.
Reminds me, I have to get back to the Hall of Fame. It's been a long time.
All right, cool. Let's. I guess I'll pivot back to myself here. All right. This is the most recent pickup, or one of the more outside of the White Plains show. This one came from one of the Negro League groups. You guys, I did a video on this, but I'll show it again because I think it's such a cool story, and it's a project I'm gonna slowly work up to. It's my Oscar. I think it's Levis. Oscar Levis, 1923-24 Nationalis cigars or cigarros. Oscar Levis is not a household name, not somebody that you would know off the top. It doesn't roll off the tongue, but he has a great story attached to him. He's considered to be the first Jamaican ball player to play in a major league organized game, professional game. He played with the the New York Cubans East team. I'm not sure if Alex Pompez owned the teams at that point, but they were playing at the Dyckman Oval, which was a ball field in the upper, the upper echelon of Manhattan at the time. And so he played with those teams in the 20s. And so I'm kind of working towards building a project primarily of collecting the Dominican players of the teams in both the 20s and 30s. From the New York Cubans, there's a handful of Dominican players that played on the teams, but I made an exception for Oscar Levis because his story is so unique. He was a pitcher, not very tall, that didn't have a lot of speed on his pitches, but he had good deception. So he threw like he threw a spitball and some other pitches as well. But here's the back on it as well. As far as price goes, I'm not going to say that these are cheap by any stretch, but comparatively to like a Gibson, they're like a Josh Gibson or something like that. This is like 270. I paid 275 for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a cool card, a cool story, and
Great card.
yeah. So that's my next showing is Oscar Levis celebrating his history of being the first Jamaican ball player and his success as playing for the New York Cubans when they were known as the Cubans East, I believe, is the team name. So
Yeah, that's an awesome card.
thanks.
There's something awesome about like seeing a player that's almost unheralded, but they're a first, you know?
Yeah.
And it almost kind of gives you that opportunity to, you know, learn about the game through your personal collection, which I think is always a really cool thing to do because it's kind of that aha moment about just learning about the history of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. There's really not a whole lot about him. It's actually a fun fact is that there was a historian that in like 2018 discovered that he was born in Jamaica because everybody thought that he was born in Panama. And so they were able to make the distinction that he was born in Jamaica, and that's when they're like, oh, they had that aha, like that aha moment, and the light bulbs went off, like, oh my God, this guy's from Jamaica. There's no other documented Jamaican ball player that they were aware of. So anyway, that's the story.
Awesome.
Tyler, let me bring you back and go through the next one.
Yeah, well, I've got to rep my Braves. It's been a rough couple of years, so we need something good to happen. But no, I got interested in picking up. You know, of course, everybody I guess thinks of Aaron and Spawn, and rightly so. But Eddie Matthews is a guy that I really like for several reasons. But again, going back on kind of the raw stuff that I've been able to find and pick up, found a really nice 54. Love this card.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if I can find it, was able to get his 55 as well. So if you guys aren't getting the picture by now, I mean, I'm squarely in
That's a great set, though, Tyler.
The cards that
really
that you
tremendous
think
set.
of and associate mostly with the Golden Age, and actually, I'm trying to decide where to go next. And Sammy mentioned Independence earlier, so you know, with the 55 set, I'm really, you know, I'm halfway finished, but I need the Clemente, the Koufax, a lot of the meat that's on the bone, and really hoping to find a nice Clemente in Independence, and then you know, a Koufax or a Jackie would be nice to go with it. But got that. Then you know, my post-war rookie run that I'm doing, that'll kind of linger out there for a while, obviously, and then so I'm kind of trying to get my eye on where to go next, and it's probably going to be, you know, like I would really like to do a Hank Aaron run. He's a guy that's underrepresented in my set or in my collection, but I love the 56 set. I love, you know, there's a lot of stuff I love, so it's trying to hone in on you know, where to go from here.
Tyler, when you say a Hank Aaron run, are you talking purely tops, like base set for your run, like a full career run? Wow.
Yeah. I would love to do that, and really the only card that I have that is of Aaron is the fence poster set or card from with Matthews from the 59 top set, and you know, I bought it as a kind of a stopgap so I could at least say I had something with Aaron's picture on it. But really respect Hank Aaron and what he means to the game, and you know, it's hard not to. But yeah, that's kind of where I would like to go. And somewhere along the line, I'll show you when we get back around to me on the next time. I've kind of backdoored a Nerdy Banks run somehow and just picking up random nice cards that I've come across. So there's worse cards that can be picked up, but I've wound up with several banks as well that I really enjoy. So that was kind of unintentional, but it's just happened along the way.
Awesome. Cool, man. I think is it Neil? I think that, yeah, that's your rotation.
Yeah, why not? Ernie
Yeah.
Banks, by the way, he may be pound for pound the best cards ever. Like there isn't a bad Ernie Banks card. Everyone looks at.
There
That's
is not.
why you're buying them, because they just look so great.
Well, I tell people all the time he never took a bad picture, but it's between him or Monty Irvin. I mean, Monty Irvin has some of the prettiest cards you'll ever see as well, but I think Banks probably edges him out.
Yeah, the 53 Irvin is, I can picture it right now, is just a classic, classic card.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I think the 55 set, I always thought the 54 and the 55, this is my opinion. I know there's been shows on it. Those are the two best sets in the 50s. And I think if there was a Mickey Mantle in either one of those, I'd be considered the best set ever. So,
yeah. Well, the thing that interests me about the 55 set too is, I mean, just kind of learning the history of, Topps and Bowman and kind of that bubblegum card war era. 55 was kind of a pivotal year with, Bowman kind of ending their run, and the 55 Topps set being phenomenal, and there's just a lot of history associated with the 55 cards in general. So that kind of caught my attention as well.
Yeah. Well, I will stick with the golden age, and I'll also show an Aaron, because I guess you're thinking about it. But this is it's not necessarily mainstream, but this is 1958 Hires with the tab, and it's one of the best images of Aaron. If you can see, can you see that? I mean, I don't know. I can't tell. This is an old monitor, but it's just a great card. To have it still with the tab is pretty fun, and you can send away the stuff on the back, which is why people you rarely see these with the tab. But
don't do it, Neil. Don't send it away.
I thought about it. I'm gonna I could join the Hires baseball club if I do, though.
You would get like a book, and I think it's like a pennant or something like that.
You wonder how much of that stuff is still out there, but that's kind of like, this is the kind of stuff. It may look like I'm in my mid 20s, but I'm not. So I've seen it all, and this is the kind of stuff that I just kind of gravitate towards.
Well, you're in your prime, Coach. Don't let anybody tell you any different ever. I was wondering why you're on the golden, showing some of your golden age stuff. Are you a Red Man guy at all? Have you got any Red Man in your collection?
Yeah, I do. I can pull them out. I mean, I got probably like 8, 9 of them. I mean, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I have, mostly. So I like the Phillies. So I got Ashburn and Roberts and Del Ennis and Granny Hamner. I think there's one more I need. I think I need a Kurt Simmons or I'm missing one of those. But I'm trying to get one of every Philly from the Red Man set, and I have. Like, I've added them over the years, like maybe one Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like Yogi Berra has 4 cards. I have 1, and so I'm done with Berra. Ted Williams and Feller. So Redman all 4 years, 52 to 55, I think.
Yeah.
And Feller and Williams only have 1 card from the 52 set. So I have a Feller, but I don't have a Ted Williams.
Yeah. Nice.
They're great cards.
Oh, I love. That's what made me think of it, was just how I think they're beautiful cards as well. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I like the regional, the oddball type of stuff, and I'm a player guy. So Hank Aaron's one of the guys I do kind of collect. I thought about doing a run. Like my big card I'd like to get this year is probably a Johnston Cookie. Yeah, they're nice. I have Matthews and I have Spahn, but
nice.
Aaron's they've been coming down a little bit. The Topps seems to have at least stabilized, but the Johnston Cookie, it seems like it peaked like years ago and kind of coming down a little bit. But Pete Rose is the other guy, and this is a 1968. Yeah, Partridge Meats. So yeah, these were given away.
I've never seen that set.
Yeah, they're cool, man. They're super cool.
Yeah, they were issued in Cincinnati, like that area. I think the Bengals also had some, and it was sponsored by the Partridge Meat Company. They were given out. I think it's Safeways, because I think there's another version of it that has Safeway on it, and it was just for player appearances. So there you have it. But it's just cool stuff like that.
There was a dealer that you actually sold stuff to, Woody. I know him as Durward because
Forward. Yeah.
yeah,
Nice guy.
Durward. He used to have the Johnny Bench partridge meats. What's cool about that is that it's like the little things that I love, but on his card it says John Bench, not Johnny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just little things like that. Just thought were kind of cool.
Sammy, there's one of those on my watch list on eBay,
Yeah.
and it just you know.
I'll keep my eyes out. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. All right, Dan.
Hey, while we're on the topic of, I guess, post-war tobacco cards, yeah. So this is my my Ralph Kiner Red Man.
Nice, Dan.
Man, is that the highest? Is that the highest grade?
Yeah. So it's a I think I can't remember. I think it is the highest grade out of the SGCs. Yeah. And I think I don't know if it's a pop one, but anyway, but like I actually stumbled across this and somebody I know was selling it, so thought it was cool.
Very nice.
Well, so pre-war, this isn't a card, but Sammy knows I picked this thing up. So this is a 1928.
Oh wow.
It went on the side of a trolley car in Pittsburgh, and you can tell it's got all the lovely wear from being on a trolley car in Pittsburgh.
I love that thing.
And I've actually found some pictures of some of these Lucky Strike banners. I'm sure you guys have seen these around. They're not too hard to find, but I actually liked the one that had like the holes from being on the trolley car. You could tell it was used, and probably saw a Pittsburgh winter. So
Is that? I'm assuming that's like tin or something, or
no, it's paper, and it's not only is it paper. Yeah, you can see like on this side right here, like a lot of the paper is missing.
okay.
Yeah, and it's got soot on it, and it's just super cool. I'm trying to figure out how to frame it. I can tell you, I promise you, I'm not going to restore it. I just want to keep it just the way it is. I love it, but I might just like mat and frame it and put it up top. So
It's
a nice piece.
It's a beautiful piece. I remember you showed it to me, the colors on it and the wear. The wear really kind of sells it for me. That's really what kind of what sells it, and the fact that the Lucky Strike, the logo and Paul Wayner's image is Paul Wayner, right?
it is Paul Wayner, and I've gotten to the point now, Sammy, where that's a lot of what I've been collecting. Right now, I've got I think it's 54 individual Paul Wayner playing era cards, and then about 10, 15 post-playing cards, including his Retirados Venezuela Topps Venezuela card. So he's kind of turning into like my guy that I collect, and I love the story. And there's a really awesome book out there that documents about both Big Poison and Little Poison, Paul Wayner and Lloyd Wayner, and so yeah, I just embrace the story, man.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's a really cool piece. I look forward to seeing it mounted or matted and framed. That's going to look great, especially when when it's all together. So.
I just got to find somewhere to hang it. I just gotta. I don't know if I can move the camera, but I just got this. I'm afraid to move the camera, but here, let me get this out of the way. It's tough to see, but that is the photo from the first World Series.
Oh, nice.
Up there. It's a print that came from an original, and the guy who did the original was just did the prints like 5 years ago from the original. So I know the guy that has the original on it, and it's got Honus Wagner on the right, and I believe I can't remember who else was in it on Boston. Who would have been Boston first World Series? I'd have to think about that one, but I really just embraced it because it's got Honus in it. So
cool. All right.
It's a
So
nice setup.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the last piece I'm going to show for the night is I love this piece, man. I've been I've been envious of when Rick from Vintage Oddball Cards got his in Mile High Auction. And you know, like I think it was I can't remember who I had the conversation with. I want to say it was Doug from Joe Wood Collector, but I can't remember if it was him or somebody else. And we were just kind of going back and forth on Instagram, I think, just kind of having a chat. And I think I can't remember how the question was positioned, but it was like something along the lines of like, oh, you know, are you upset that you didn't get it or something like that? I'm like, no, you know, because you know, Rick, I'm glad it went to Rick. I'm glad Rick was able to get his in Mile High. Or I think he asked like, do you regret not getting it? I'm like, no, because you know, like Rick and I collect a lot of the same players, but there are things that Rick has that I don't have, and there's things that I have that Rick doesn't have, and you know, you can't get into the mindset of like, oh, you know, I need to get, you know, you need to like one up somebody because that's never the case. And I don't think that's what Doug was insinuating, but it's just something that I've thought about. But I was always like, when he got it, I'm like, I was super happy for him. But I'm like, that's such a cool. Like, I was envious that it was because it was such a cool looking piece. And so this one came up in REA. It was sitting in the REA marketplace for probably about 6 to 8 months, and there was the price they had on it was like double what Rick paid. And so I'm thinking, all right, well, you know, maybe I'll work up to it, but I can't pay that. First, I don't have the money to pay for it. So they put it up in auction, and I was like, all right, I'm going after this. It was the first card I was going to go after was in Heritage. It was the Alaga Syrup Willie Mays, which I'm kind of glad I pivoted to this because the Alaga Syrup ended up selling for like $11,000-$12,000, which was way beyond what I can afford. And this was not, I mean, this was a huge card, a huge piece too, but as far as money goes, but comparatively, not even close. So this went up in auction. It sold for a little bit more than what Rick paid for his, but the way I kind of frame it in my mind is that these things, pre-war stuff like this, or pre-war like the pre-war stars, they're just continuing to elevate, continuing to go up. So I'm not thinking like, oh, you know, I can't believe I paid more, because I think I paid for, you know, I've kind of redefined in some ways what the market value is on this piece. So, but yeah, this is, I kind of gave you a whole story without telling you what it was. The 1910 American Caramel E125. So Christy Mathewson, American die cut. The back of it has all of his teammates. The action shots to me are just absolutely stellar. You've seen this pose on a number of different cards that he's done. A lot of different like postcards perhaps that he's been in. So yeah, this came from the most recent one of the more recent REA auctions. But yeah, I'm super pleased that I was able to get it. And yeah, it's yeah. If you haven't seen Rick's, definitely check Rick's out as well. Vintage Oddball Cards. But
He has some great stuff.
Yeah, it's without a doubt.
Sammy, your comment about, you know, kind of, I hate using the term comps, but like setting the market when it comes to a card that's either, you know, a pre-war card that's low pop, unique. It reminds me of the conversation that you and I had, and I was like, man, I think I overpaid for this card, you know, and I was like, but I'm probably never going to find it again and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So. And that's so yeah, I'll fill in Neil and Tyler on this. Is that we were having a conversation essentially about a rare card that Dan picked up, and Dan was concerned that he paid more than he should have, or paid more than what the card may have been valued at. But like, I started looking at the sales of how the card is sold in the past, and you know, we're looking at a card that hasn't been sold in like what, maybe 4 or 5 years perhaps, and especially when it comes to pre-war, I don't know, and we can finish off on this note, but when it comes to pre-war, and especially tougher cards, and Paul Wayner's not, you know, he's somebody that he's on people's radar, is what I'm getting at. So, pre-war guys like that, you know, that are pivotal and are collectible, I think just are continuing to go up. And so, what might feel like an overpriced item, an overpaid item now will not seem that way down the road. But yeah, when I looked at when I went through when I kind of evaluated what you were talking about, I kind of saw I kind of thought, man, I think you did fine. You didn't pay. It's not like you paid like $3,000. I think you paid like I don't know if you want to go into it. I'm sorry.
And so it's a 1933 R306 buttercream Paul Wayner, which the 33 buttercream set is like one that the Ruth in that set has just emerged as having like multiple copies recently, and they've just like absolutely skyrocketed in price. So there's also a bunch of people that are trying to do the set on it, and it's a tough set because it's like, what was it, like a Pop 6, something like that, Pop 7, something like that, 6 or 7 out there. But I mean, it's a unique set. It's not like something that's highly coveted or anything like that. It's just what I liked about it was the unique imagery. And the reason I'm not showing the card is I don't have it yet. So
I was like, yeah, let's
I promise I'm not burying the lead.
Well, for something like that, I mean, I don't know if you can really put a comp on it. And I think if you feel that you got a good deal, well, then you did, because if they don't come up, are you going to kick yourself for not buying it? That's really what you got to ask yourselves too. So,
Yep.
It was also a good opportunity to spend my my CIA auction money, right?
yeah, why not?
Because that just closed.
Cool. All right. Well, listen, guys, I know we could show more cards, but I do want to say that if you do want to see more cards from these guys, you can definitely check out their channels. Neil with Cardboard Coach Neil, Tyler with 5 Cent Wax, and Dan with Steel City DW. You can check out their channels to be able to kind of see more of their showcases of what they have in their collections. And if you have time, you can come over to my channel, Sammy Thunder. But I do thank you guys for jumping on tonight, talking a little bit about showcasing some of your cards and sharing the stories behind them. I think that's kind of what people are looking for, or what people want right now. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us on, Sammy.
Yeah, thanks, Sammy. I really appreciate it, brother. And Neil, Tyler, it was great. This is the first time I think we've had the opportunity to kind of chat on stream and stuff. So
yeah,
really looking forward to it, guys.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
All right, just hang tight for after the intro, and for everybody else, keep on collecting. Thank you so much. Again, subscribe to For Collectors if you have not. Take care.
Love my hobby. Keep collecting baseball cards.
But hey, we want to keep the lights on here at For Collectors Studios, so hit the like button for us, guys.
So thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time on For Collectors.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. Subscribe to the For Collectors channel if you haven't done so yet, and we'll see you soon.
All right, guys. Clemente Collector has said we hit a grand slam, so that makes me feel good.